You're listening to Cattywampus.
Hi, I'm David.
I'm Brian.
I'm Steve.
I'm Corey.
And we decided to not play video games today, but to watch them in the form of cinema.
It's always a poor choice.
Yeah, I feel like we did something wrong here.
So, we watched Super Mario Brothers, starring Bob Hoskins, John Leguizamo, Dennis Hopper, Fiona Shaw, whoever the hell played Daisy, Samantha Mathis. That's it.
Pretty good cast.
It was
Pretty
an
bad movie.
Excellent cast. Excellent cast.
Should have worked. Maybe.
No, there's no chance a live-action Mario movie was ever going to work.
Yes.
Even though we just watched it, I don't necessarily know what or why or how. Like, how did that even come to be?
I thought you were about to say, even though we just watched it, I forgot all of it.
I mean, I kind of talked over most of it.
I mean, we got the story.
But I get it.
We'd all seen it before, though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Many moons ago.
Yeah.
I think it has the same problem that a lot of these video game movies have, where
They're
this one
too
is
immersive.
This one is even worse about
was
it.
just
but
too good.
A lot of game movies seem to think that if you take our world and their world and collide the two, then suddenly it becomes a better adaptation and makes more sense.
It does have that animated movie, or the animated series adaptation problem where it's like, we can't just make a Smurfs movie. The Smurfs have to come here.
And that's what I was complaining about with the new Monster Hunter movie coming out.
And Sonic's doing that too, right? Mm-hmm.
Sonic is in our world.
Some things, and this Mario should take a hint, some things are just better animated. Let's get into this. Super Mario Brothers,
The Plumbers.
movie. Okay, so the movie opens. For anyone who doesn't know, Super Mario Brothers is based on a popular game franchise about Mario. Steve, Mario is not a plumber, contrary to popular belief.
Well,
Resident Nintendo expert Steve.
oh boy.
Get your Nintendo monocle out.
By Jove. Mario, I don't believe, was ever canonically a plumber, per se. I think it's just one of those things that they use to explain away the fact that he went up and down pipes for no discernible reason, other than it was a clever way to disguise loading screens, I would assume.
I thought it was because he had the overalls on.
I mean, that was just because it was, you only had so many pixels to play with and so many colors
Of course,
to
like
play
plumbers all wear overalls.
with. Yeah, clearly.
I believe there's other people that wear overalls.
He easily
And I
could have
believe
been a
there's-
farmer.
I believe there's plumbers that don't wear overalls, but one thing I do want to hit on, what's not canonical in the Mario universe? Like canonically, so like, is there Mario games where Nintendo's like, that's not canon?
Sort of. To
Like
an
Mario
extent.
Party?
Mario Brothers 2,
They never hung out at a party. He never invited Koopa over for a party.
They definitely never played tennis together.
Yeah, they never played tennis.
They do golf.
Was there a Mario soccer
Man,
game?
that
Yeah,
game was
Strikers or
good.
whatever.
Really?
Strikers were so good, though.
Was it good because it was a good game, or was it good because it was a good
what
Mario
system
game?
was that on? I feel like
It
I
was
lost
on GameCube.
I feel like I lost like 20 years of, which I guess I did. So literally I went from like Nintendo 64 to like Switch.
I went literally from the Super Nintendo, that was my last Nintendo console, to the Switch.
You never had a 64?
My neighbor had an N64, and a couple of my friends did. It was
So it
always
was like me and PlayStation. All my friends always had one, so I never
it
had
always
one.
seemed like it was like, I'm getting the PlayStation, so you should get the Nintendo. That way we can have everything.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you were one of those fucking rich kids who had them all.
Yeah, right.
Which I now as an adult am.
And
Now as an adult, as we sit in my living room
There
and
was
reserve
always-
my Switch dock, my PlayStation 4.
there was always the conversations like, which console do you have? And then the one kid's like, well, what do you mean? I've got all of them. I'm like, well, fuck
Was
yeah.
that you, Steve?
That was me. That was 100%.
Was that
me.
were your parents into it? Was that why?
Actually, my dad did play. Actually,
see,
he still plays games.
I think that helps. Like my kids will probably have all the consoles because I'm gonna still keep buying them.
Yeah.
I'm a man of means.
You're like, I started, why stop?
Yeah,
I
I'm like,
mean,
I'm
that's
gonna
pretty
buy a
much my
PlayStation 5. Why not?
Yeah,
I have
I
a
mean-
401k. Fuck it.
They don't need to go to college.
So
I'm gonna cut this.
So Mario.
Oh right, that super movie. Okay, so
The super movie or stupid movie?
whoa,
Super stupid.
Stupid Mario, bro.
Super stupid.
Someone here writes for the Onion. Why for a dig at the Onion?
Yeah, I'm really not sure.
Why do I don't hit the Onion? Why I did that? It's just at the New Yorker. So Super Mario Brothers, the movie, starts with a cartoon explanation that there is a parallel world where humans still evolved, but they evolved from dinosaurs, which were also apparently lizards and not birds, instead of evolving from primates. And this world exists in a parallel dimension that can be entered through the sewers of Brooklyn. And a princess was stowed away during a coup. Oh, is it called Koopa because it's a coup?
Oh no.
Oh no, I don't know.
I'm not sure.
Oh,
but
shit.
No, I think that's too smart.
Was
You're
it a coup
overthinking this,
started
David.
by
Did
a
I just
man
reveal
named-
that I'm one of the 37 writers on this script?
Were there really 37 writers on this script?
There were a whole bunch. There was only 3 credited, but there were way more than 3.
I can't even tell they had one.
Yeah, it does feel like it was written by osmosis.
I'm just really confused at this point, having seen that. What do you think that Miyamoto, the guy who created all of this, what do you think he said when he saw that?
Does he?
Fuck.
He That's probably right. He strikes me as the kind of guy that maybe had the. It's kind of like Hearst and Citizen Kane, where he claimed to have never seen it, and you're like, bullshit.
What movie?
Yeah, I refuse to watch it. And you're like, sure you did, man. Which maybe you did. Here's the thing. Maybe what he means is I watched 10 minutes and turned it off.
Yeah. I'm still confused because I feel like you have everything you need. Technically, you have the
Not this production.
right. But you have a general.
No, it does not.
You have a general idea of what the game is.
Do they
and
though? I feel like
Watching this, no, they don't.
most of those screenwriters were probably turned on their Game Boy, went through Mario for about 5 minutes, and went, got it.
I just don't understand how anyone could play even 10 minutes of a game like that and then come up with what we watched.
Well, you're hamstrung by the fact that it's going to be live action, which is a terrible idea. It kind of reminded me a little bit of some films of the 80s, like The Last Starfighter and Tron, in the sense where you're like, oh, it's the real world, and then we go into this other world. And so, like, it sets up this secret second world, and you're like, okay, the princess was exiled here, or was sent here and raised as an orphan to save her from the fact that the evil King Koopa took over and killed her mom and allegedly killed her dad. And so she's raised as an orphan, and then you cut to the present day. Our 2 heroes, normal Joes, American Brooklyn, pro-union men who are not really brothers. They're basically Bob Hoskins adopted John Leguizamo, is what we find out. But they call themselves brothers. You know, they're all they have in the world, and they get stuck on this, you know, they get caught into this adventure and end up having to save this woman when she's abducted back into the world. But it's, you know, it has that 80s movie vibe. It's obviously made a little bit past the prime of that, but that's kind of their, you know, which is a very stock Hollywood thing where, you know, it was like, hey, Spider-Man was successful in 2002, so every fucking comic book movie followed the Spider-Man formula. Ghost Rider, Fantastic Four, Daredevil. They were Sam Raimi's Spider-Man with the details of the adaptation kind of like posted onto it. And the Mario movie kind of reminds me of that, where it's like, take any of your 80s fantasy adventure. There's another world that you never knew about, just beneath the surface. Come with us on an adventure.
Full of
sexual innuendo.
and goo.
And sometimes not even innuendo.
Fungus.
Just flat out people sexually assaulting other people.
What was this rated? Does anybody know off the top of their
PG.
head?
X.
No, I'm almost positive it was PG.
I'm sure it was a PG film.
Interesting.
I would not shock
Dennis
me.
Hopper felt really rapey for it to be PG.
I am sure the MPAA fell asleep, woke up, and went, PG.
I could have seen them spending more time in the charcoal bath.
You know, in a previous podcast, we talked about what was erotic to us as children. Anyone? Mario? No? Okay.
No.
Moving on.
Wait,
Wait,
can it still be erotic to us, or did it?
I don't know.
Does it only have to be when we were like
I don't know,
younger?
Steve. Can it?
Bowsette wasn't around back then,
Yeah,
so how do I
exactly.
answer
No,
this
one
question?
gets that reference because we never aired that.
It's
That's
fine.
a damn shame. That's
Because
a damn...
it was mostly drunken ramblings about Mac tonight.
But you understood it.
This is why I still want to do the Mick podcast.
I think we will do the Mick podcast one day, but you know, slightly in a not 3:30 a.m. state, we will do it.
No, it won't be as good.
20 beers
You
in.
say that? Yeah, 20 beers.
They weren't drunk enough. That was the problem.
That is the problem.
Yeah, that
You gotta go.
Yeah, you gotta
in.
break in through the other
You
side.
can't be sober and talk about Mac tonight. Anyway, Mario. It's a weird movie. The biggest misstep, aside from there's a lot of blunders in the movie, but is that they go to this alternate world, and it's almost like this like Blade Runner, William Gibson, David Cronenberg-esque 80s nightmare world. that King Koopa runs, it has no resemblance to the games at all.
And people are just like getting in fights and like
everyone is
dying.
everyone is a splatterpunk or a stripper.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that's it. Those are your only options.
What was with that one part where that kid just ran his bike over the railing for no discernible reason?
It just had to show you that anarchy was was
anarchy
happening.
reigns supreme here.
It felt like the vestigial tale of like a longer scene.
Yeah.
The only thing I would say is that it's almost impressive that they took a game about pushing A or whatever to jump over things and maybe go get a princess,
Yeah.
and then turn it into a 2.5-hour movie.
A post-apocalyptic movie. It's like an hour and a half, man. I know what it felt like. It felt like watching Godfather 3.
After watching, I think at this point in my life, I've seen every video game adaptation movie.
Really?
Interesting.
Most if not all, and all of them are not good. At least this one tried to do
Wait,
something.
have you seen like the In the Name of the King Dungeon
Yes.
Siege sequels?
No, I watched the
Okay.
first one, and I think I started the sequel.
Okay.
I have seen, I think, all 3 Blood Rain movies.
Well,
Why?
there's Blood Rain 2, Blood Rain 3, and then there's the other one in
Okay, I
which the joke is it's Blood Rain, but she's obese, and you're like, this
What?
is yeah.
That's a thing.
Wait, yeah, what are you talking about? Did Yui Bowl really make this?
Oh yeah.
What was
I
it
mean,
called? Pudding Rain?
It's you're not.
You're probably
It's
not
gonna be
wrong.
something like that.
I will say I've also seen most of Uwe Boll's movies.
Yeah, why
That's
would
a-
you? So you've seen like Postal?
Yep.
Why?
I've
I mean,
always-
I've
Because
seen
you're an
I've seen
asshole.
Postal, and
Postal
In the
was-
Name of the King.
Postal might have been his best movie, next to the one he did 2 or 3 of them. Rampage.
I can't even keep those. No, Rampage is awful.
I think it might have been better than Postal.
It's
but regardless,
oh god. Okay,
Far
it's-
Cry was the
Who's ready?
fucking worst.
It's called. Oh god. It's called Blubberella.
Wow.
It's directed by Uwe Boll, and it is a scene-for-scene spoof of Blood Rain: The Third Reich, also directed by Boll in the previous year.
How do you make a spoof of
So
your
he
own movie?
basically shot Blood Rain: The Third Reich, and then brought in a different cast and shot a parody.
I hate him so much.
I mean, yeah.
I cannot think of another director I hate more than him.
But anyway, that's Blubberella. Sorry, I made everyone aware that existed.
Yeah,
But I'll never
really
forget.
upset.
Yeah, I had never even heard of that.
It was my 9/11. I'll never forget.
But
So you've seen most video game movies, and
Yeah.
obviously Super Mario Brothers was the best.
I'd say it's probably in the middle. It's definitely
That's
not
so
the worst.
sad. You're
People-
like,
That's the
People
yeah.
always call it the worst one, but I would
You're like,
honestly
I give it a B
nah,
on the sliding scale of video
B
game
minus.
movies. What's worse?
House of the Dead.
Alone in the Dark.
Worse.
Worse.
Way worse.
Oh,
Alone in the
everyone-
Dark was hands down the
worse.
worst.
Far Cry worse.
Another Uwe Boll classic.
Tomb Raider 1 better. Tomb Raider 2
Better.
Better.
probably better.
The new Tomb Raider, better.
Doom.
Haven't seen it.
I
Doom
haven't-
is better.
Doom's boring. Doom's
haven't-
more boring, but it's a
Yeah.
more competent film.
But what about that awesome 3-minute FPS shot?
Everybody fucking talks about that. It doesn't look good.
Yeah,
it's not.
I don't know if you guys have seen it, but Hardcore Henry. I had to turn it off about half an hour in.
I turned it off 10 minutes in.
Yeah, I was like,
I've never seen
I was
it.
like, this is
I
a
know what it
really-
is, but I've never seen it.
It was a great concept for a YouTube video. It is not a good movie idea.
Well, people talk about like the magic of cinema and how like in like, you know, some of its historical roots, like George Lumiere talks about like, you know, how it's like a magic trick. Not literally. A gimmick is not something you can hang a movie on. You have to have like a story with people
like
you care about.
Saw with their twist endings every single time.
Every single
It's not a
movie.
twist if you can see it coming. If you know there's going
Well,
to
the
be
problem
a
with the
twist.
Saw movies is some of them the twist is impossible to see coming because it makes no fucking sense.
It's
You're
not
like,
a plot
That's
twist.
true.
It's like a plot
Specifically
twister.
the
yeah, it's more of
Jigsaw.
like we just decided to do a different thing now, and you're like, oh,
Jigsaw was just stupid.
Jigsaw was just Saw 2 again, right? You're like, surprise, it was in the past.
Surprise, you guys don't know this, but this was actually 10 years ago.
Yeah, it Saw 2 was the same idea, which is surprise, you're watching a video feed, it's in the past.
Yeah.
It already happened.
Sounds
Great.
great.
You'll see in October when we do the Saw podcast.
Are we gonna do a Sawathon?
Sawathon? You know, they're all like 70 to 80 minutes, so it wouldn't be that hard.
No, it wouldn't. I don't know that I have the constitution.
I
for that.
respect, I promise we'll talk about Mario. This isn't going to be a Three Ninjas scenario again. We'll talk about Mario.
I don't know, man. Three Ninjas was pretty good by comparison.
I do respect that Saw is so fucking complicated in its story because they kill Jigsaw in the third movie and there's 5 more movies. Yep. They have to make this very complicated timeline. Like, they use cinema in a way that is actually very effective, which is you don't really know what's happening in what order when you're watching it. You're being presented a set of scenes, and in an intentional way, it's being obfuscated, like how the timeline works, and then it's revealed to you, it like kind of unfolds to you, because it killed Jigsaw and didn't think, well, there'll be 5 more of these, surely. So, like, 4...
They do pull a lot of that right out of their ass, though.
Yeah, but some of it's really interesting because, like, the idea that 5 took place during 4. And you're like, oh, or something like that. Like it's stuff like that where you're like, this movie actually took place during another movie.
Yeah, I can't... The first movie will always be my favorite. But
I mean, they're all terrible. Let's not...
I think there is it's either 5 or 6. There's the original series is 7 movies, right?
What?
Sure.
Huh?
Well, there's 7 movies and then there's Jigsaw,
he's
right?
saying that Jigsaw is kind of like a reboot, which I guess,
it
but it's
was
really
meant to be. I think
it's really not. It's just another one.
Yeah. But I think it was 5 or 6 that.
I feel like everyone's tuned out, and Brian and I are just gonna
We're
start
starting
a
to Sawcast
Sawcast.
right now.
Anyway, you're listening to Sawcast, where every week we talk about the Saw timeline. Have you read my Saw fan fiction? What if the whole world was a trap? Dun 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 dun.
Is that really a story, or is that just existence?
Live or die.
So every day you wake up and somebody just presents you a puppet.
I'm gonna wake up and that puppet's at the foot of my bed.
Just every day.
With that fucking awful cackle. Yeah.
Want to play a game? Oatmeal or go hungry.
No.
In order to make your oatmeal, I've hidden the packet in your small intestines.
I need
Dun dun dun!
I need a blood offering. All right, Mario. I don't think Mario
Super Saw
had,
Brothers.
I don't think Mario had blood offerings. I could be wrong.
No, it had fungi.
Yeah, it had fungi offerings. It had some Cronenberg Brundlefly shit.
Yeah.
Which is perfect for your kids' movie about fucking Mario.
Well, the whole concept of de-evolution in this film was just why.
Well, yeah, because that's Koopa's big plot, right? Which is like...
Yeah, but that's his big plot, but he also proved that he could evolve people, too.
But did he? Because after he evolved those cronies, they were still complete
and,
dumbasses.
Iggy and Lou Reed, or whatever.
I would just call them what the other characters call them. Morons. The morons.
Well, I like it when they get smart. Instead of Iggy, he's like, Ignatius. And I'm like, which made me trail off in my own head for about 6 minutes while the movie was playing, going, is Iggy Pop's name Ignatius Pop? Is Iggy a stage name? What's Iggy Pop's name? Oh, this movie's still playing. So I did that for a while.
If I met him, would he be offended if I called him Mr.
Ignatius
Pop?
Sir Pop. Is he British? No, he's not British. Isn't it weird how Iggy Pop's in the Crow sequel and he's the basis for the Crow in the original comic? That Crow sequel's weird. That was written by David Goyer. Oh shit, Mario's still... Anyway, that was my experience watching Mario. I was like, should I watch Crow City of Angels? It's probably terrible. I mean, it has to be, right? It's a sequel to The Crow, but it was released in theaters. Oh, look, the fungus turned into Lance Hendrickson. Was Lance Hendrickson in a Crow sequel? No. Wait, maybe.
Sounds like you want to watch The Crow.
That's just how I
think that's every day for David. I just want to watch The Crow.
My heart can't take that kind of feels.
You can watch Wicked Prayer and just forget about The Crow.
Eddie Furlong and David Boreanaz as Crash Demon or whatever his name is.
I don't even want to talk about it.
Oh,
His name.
his name was like Crash.
Bandicoot?
Yes, his name was Crash Bandicoot. It was a backdoor pilot. Crow Wicked Prayer. That was the one that was supposed to have DMX, but it ended up being Edward Furlong.
And Tara Reid?
Yes. I thought for a second she was in the third one, but that's Kirsten Dunst.
Yep.
And Eric Mabius, where instead of the makeup, it's like a Man in the Iron Mask fit, and that creates the Crow visage from Electrical Burn. Well, Brian knows exactly what I'm talking about.
I too had a goth phase.
Are you the
Or
only one?
Maybe I just
so I'm not
never
the only
left
one.
it.
So am I not the only one who owned that trilogy DVD box set? Maybe
I didn't have the box set, but I had all the movies.
you bought them individually. Oh, you're more of a crow head than me. Anyway, you're listening to Crowcast.
Not to be confused with Chromecast.
Yeah, well, I actually bought a Chromecast. I painted it black, obviously. And put a little crow on it.
Are you going to play our Crowcast on your Chromecast?
No, but I have a Crowcast, which is a Chromecast I painted black.
So-
And the only thing on it, it's basically just a USB drive that has a torrent of The Crow and that one Cure song they did for The Crow that they hate. Because Robert Smith is like, I fucking hate that song. And I'm like, bitch, that's your best
It's
song.
a really
Get
good
over
song.
it. It's such a good song. Plus that Nine Inch Nails covers of Joy Division.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mario.
Join us next week on Crowcast.
So Mario sucks, and the Crow.
So anyway,
Go watch it.
they get through to the. So anyway, to finish the synopsis, they end up in the Blade Runner dimension, Act 2.
with jump boots and hookers.
There's hookers who tell them to use some mechanical jump boots to explain why they can jump. Which, by the way, if it's an alternate universe, just say it's low gravity and
Yeah.
everybody can do
Just
it.
say you can just jump really high.
Give it some 1940s Superman shit and be like, oh, gravity's different here. We're all heavier, but you guys are in the other universe, so you're lighter. So boop, jump.
Yeah.
Like, come on, like
Give them the
it's-
sound effects.
It's no stupider than the rocket boots, right?
There was a scene with Mario
that you loved?
with a mushroom, right?
That's
Yes.
the end.
Wasn't he, like, blocking
let's
a
not get
laser?
ahead. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay, so
Yeah.
they get the jump boots, like you do. They escape the dance club, end up in a quarry or something. I don't know.
They end up going to
Was that before
landfills
or
and
after the dance club?
That might have
It's
been
all kinda
before.
running together.
There's a
No.
lot. The movie's a series of misadventures.
Yeah.
they go to several landfills
Yeah, well,
and one quarry.
So according to Koopa, they've run out of natural resources, which we're going to come up again in another movie we saw today. But they've run out of natural resources, and they need to abduct the other, or they need to break into the other land or something, right? Or they want to steal the resources from our land.
I thought they just wanted to be not dinosaurs. Be
No,
dinosaurs.
No, I think the de-evolution evolution technology is inconsequential to his larger plan. It's just a piece
I think
of
it was
technology.
just one of
he
those,
has.
like, he was sick of being stuck in dinosaur land.
I thought they were running out of resources because he's like, look at this. It's happening to us. Oh my God, we need something.
But
I only remember him saying he likes mud because it's dirty and clean.
Yeah, when he's trying to have sex with Fiona Shaw.
I
Who
just-
turns into a witch, by the way.
I'm still confused
And
now that
then
I'm thinking
angels
about it.
skeleton.
What was their actual plan? I feel like half of the time he's trying to not be a dinosaur. Or
No, he got thrown into the devolution thing.
Right.
That was-
the Marios threw him in
that
there.
was after he had done the thing with his hands.
You're
and
right.
Yeah.
It's very. I feel like I
He
can't.
just
I,
likes being pretty. That was
I
his
can't
spa
understand.
day.
Does he want to be a dinosaur? Does he not want to be a dinosaur?
He just wants to be Dennis Hopper.
And does going to our world make him either or?
Let's see.
He
Let's-
just wanted to be done with the film.
By the way, the tagline of Super Mario Brothers is "This ain't no game."
Right.
Oh, clearly,
You know
it's
what?
nothing
Throwing that
like
out
the
there.
fucking
You know
game.
what? You know what else used that tagline? Dungeons and Dragons. 100%.
No.
We've already been over this. We're not doing Dungeons and Dragons.
Dragons.
Except instead of
Until we're bereft of content.
Your application has
So
been
in
denied.
like 6 months.
So next month, we literally can't think of anything.
we got to watch the third one. though.
Okay, hold on. Let's see.
I refuse.
Iggy and Spike realize they didn't bring Daisy's rock, a meteorite fragment which Koopa is trying to get in order to merge his world with the human world.
But why?
But why?
Would you like to know more?
How many paragraphs does it take to explain?
Oh, there's
this
like
awful
50
movie?
paragraphs here.
Text yes to subscribe to Super
You
Mario
know,
Facts.
Wikipedia wisely doesn't say why.
I don't
That's
think.
because I don't think they ever did.
I think it
He's
was
got to
just,
merge the worlds for some reason.
That's not the point of the movie. The point is, look, it's Mario and Luigi in a movie.
but it wasn't.
But it was.
Not
It
my
was
Mario.
fine, yeah.
Also, like in the video games,
I
haven't they
didn't vote
always?
for him.
Haven't they? Speaking of which,
Neither one
who
of
liked
them-
all of the democratically elected King Koopa signs.
Neither one of them broke any bricks with their heads and got coins.
That's true. That's weird that they didn't try and come up with some weird version of that.
They went down pipes
They did go down pipes. They had the jumping. They had the mushroom, the flamethrower.
There wasn't a lot of fungus in Mario, or
yeah, I don't recall Cronenberg like fungus growing
or
everywhere.
cop car bumper cars.
I don't recall. Maybe do you think that's a veiled reference to Mario Kart?
Was
Mario
this
Kart
before or after Mario Kart?
I don't know when the first Mario Kart was. Was it Super Nintendo?
Might have been 91, so...
No, it was Super Nintendo.
Yeah, which Super Nintendo came out, I believe, in 91.
Not important.
I'm looking it up.
You can't watch that movie on a Super Nintendo.
You can't explain the
It
Silent Hill
looked like
fungus.
it was filmed with a Super Nintendo.
Or no, it came out the year prior because Super Mario Brothers 93.
That's...
May 28th.
That's dumb.
This is a Memorial Day release? Oh, that's ballsy.
Do you love our troops?
That's-
We don't!
Do you love those who gave their lives to defend our country?
You talking about the
Come see Mario.
Are you talking about the Goombas?
Yeah. Come see a different kind of soldier this weekend.
A tiny-headed Goomba.
You know what they reminded me of? They don't really look like it, but they reminded me of the puppets that were used on that ABC show Dinosaurs.
Yes, they looked like the dad's head just
Right?
shrunk.
Yeah, they
That's what
did.
everybody looked like, right?
Not
It
the
had a
mama.
really dark ending.
Well, yeah, they all died from the
Yeah.
meteor.
I never saw that.
Yeah,
They
were just
died.
literally
You just
like,
ruined
we're
my
not
childhood.
getting
The
renewed.
apocalypse happened.
Yeah, we're not getting renewed, so fuck it. We're all just gonna
They-
die.
The apocalypse happened, and,
Did they hug it out and hold hands while they burned?
I don't remember.
They didn't
I
show them dying.
I
but
like
they
most of
basically-
America didn't watch it regularly.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah, I believe they were all just kind of in the same room waiting for the end to come. When the show
I
ended.
think that was one of those shows that, so my parent, when I was a kid, my parents obviously controlled the primetime television watching, but they just let me watch whatever they watched. So like, I remember they played Dinosaurs, and I think it was my mom who was just like, this is fucking stupid. And
just-
we just stopped watching
I just
it.
picture the baby sitting alone in the kitchen, and he's looking out the window, and the meteor's coming towards him, and he says, "Not the mama."
Oh,
And they
that's what it
all
was, not the
explode.
mama.
That's what I see.
He just,
No, he should have fucking looked at the meteor and gone, the mama. Boom. And it's like the fountain and like a fucking tree.
so
goes out.
a single tear rolls down his cheek.
It's the mama.
But no, Mario. Mario.
Brian is so
Okay,
desperate
okay,
to talk
so-
about Mario.
so-
I'm trying
I
to talk
am, like,
about Mario
I'm
like I was trying to
irritated.
focus on the movie.
So anyway, they need to get the stone.
I'm irritated that it is not. It's impressive to me that they made this movie based on this game and did nothing
Loosely.
with what they did nothing involving Mario.
But you know what-
There's no fucking.
He went through a pipe.
There's no invincible star bullshit. There's no.
That is a weird omission, isn't
there's
it? The
there's
star.
pretty much
no
nothing.
fire flower.
I
And
would've-
they're not even wearing the right
Well, there's
clothes.
the flamethrowers that kind of make the.
But that's not a fire
fireballs.
flower.
Well, yeah, yes, it's not a flower, Corey.
It's a
This is a
metaphor.
real world with stakes. This is fucking William Gibson shit, because when you think Mario, you think William Gibson.
You know what really blows my mind is that people said this was too true to the source material.
That is the most
Who
baffling.
told you that?
Some fucking stupid critic in 1993 went,
This movie-
This is bad, and it's bad because it's too faithful for the game. So clearly they never played the game and just
That's
assume
what
this
I'm
is what the
saying.
game is like.
So that reviewer, much like the people who wrote this script, never played the game.
The many people.
I'm sure they watched it,
Well, it was
and they were like,
93. Gaming was still being viewed as for children.
Which is fine because Mario is for children. So why don't you make a movie for children?
it's not
Instead
sexy
of like
enough.
late teens.
Yeah, they're like Mario needs to get some sex in this movie. Like, yeah, you know what? We need to watch. We need to watch Luigi and Daisy. Will they fuck? Won't they fuck? Who could say? And you're like, why is this in your Mario movie?
That
Make him jump on mushrooms.
I think the weirder part was when they went to the police station and the cop is being massaged by, like, a hooker's heel.
a stripper or something.
I don't get it. I do not understand.
No, I saw that and immediately was just like, so it's RoboCop now?
Yeah, it's like RoboCop meets Total Recall meets Blade Runner, and you're just like, I don't want to live in this world. Why? If anyone lived in this world, why wouldn't they kill themselves? The suicide rate in Dinoopolis, or whatever the fuck it's called, must be sky high.
Oh, so
No.
that guy on the bike was killing himself.
Yeah.
Oh, that does make sense. He was like, I'm out.
I don't know why you
all you
would.
could have
They got
is
the
Dino.
sweet Dino style pizza.
exactly.
That would have been great. See, that would have been great if later when Koopa orders. By the way, Koopa orders a pizza later via TV phone. Wouldn't have
TV gun phone?
Yeah, TV gun phone, because they use like the Nintendo guns to control their TVs. Wouldn't have been so great if he called in the order and they're like, okay, we're gonna be a little late. We're short a delivery guy. And you're like, oh, it's a subtle callback to that dude who offed himself on the bike. So anyway, they need to get this stone because it's going to unite it's a piece of the meteor that Daisy was left with when she was abandoned over here, like fucking Moses or whatever. And it's going to be used by the witch, because Fiona Shaw turns out to be a witch, to merge the two universes for some reason we all can't agree on because we don't remember. And the Mario brothers have to stop it, and they do.
They stop it, all right.
And they murder or actually, that woman murders the shit out of herself.
Yeah.
Trying to jam the
She
crystal
puts that
back into the rock.
It's a real Raiders of the Lost Ark scenario.
She puts
The witch
that-
gets the stone, and she might as well melt away like those fucking Nazis who opened the Ark.
She literally just gets shot into a wall. Then
And
she
turns
becomes
into
part-
a skeleton.
like a fossil immediately.
She's fossilized because it's dinosaurs or whatever.
My favorite part was when the Mario brothers liquefy, like they fucking murder that dude.
Yeah, what? They hit him with the de-evolution ray.
Yeah,
and
until
they
he turned
evolved
to
him
slime.
back to slime?
First he turns
Yeah, the
into this,
primordial ooze that came out of the original cooling crust of the planet.
at first he turns into like a really freaky looking predator, and then he turns into green goo.
I think my favorite part was when it was over.
Oh, the post-credit sequence?
yes.
The post credit sequence was great.
Just when it was over.
Where two Japanese executives are being pitched a video game by Iggy and
The Goomba brothers.
Blue
whatever.
Reed.
By Iggy and Slash.
I think it was- I
Iggy and
was gonna- I was
Slash.
gonna say maybe
Iggy
like
and,
Axel.
yeah, Iggy and... I like how you're all going 80s.
Okay,
Movie?
by
Movie took place
Iggy
in
and
the
Earth,
90s.
Wind, and Fire.
You know, Iggy and, I don't know, Diana Ross. Anyway, they're trying to pitch these two Nintendo executives about the game, and they're like, it's called the Super Koopa Brothers. And they're like, yeah, we nailed it.
I thought it was Super Koopa Cousins.
Super
Yeah,
Koopa Cousins.
Cousins,
Sorry, yeah.
And that was the point at which I started thinking, did Miyamoto watch this? And if so, what did he think?
Maybe that
Which
was
we've
just...
agreed was
maybe
just
was that
fuck.
Miyamoto at the end? It's just live
No.
footage they caught?
No.
What-
Neither of them were Miyamoto.
Do you know what he looked like 25 years ago?
Yes.
Why?
I mean, that's
Wait,
a thing.
Because the internet exists and I've seen photos.
Why were you... Do you have a journal
You
about
let me
Miyamoto?
have my fantasies, all right?
Fair enough. Sounds
Nah,
like you're gonna assault this old Japanese man. I'm gonna find him. Like fucking Zod and Manus are like, oh, I'll find him. I will find him.
Oh no. It wasn't critics. Shigeru Miyamoto commented that while he enjoyed the effort that was put into the film, he felt that the end result was too faithful to the game series.
What?
Maybe he meant it as a backhanded compliment, where it's like,
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't associated with what I did at all. That reads like someone who never watched it. I appreciate what they did. Maybe they shouldn't have stuck so close to my vision. That's a humble thing to say, right? I've never seen this film.
No, it reads more like, like it was sarcastic. Like, yeah, I wish they hadn't stayed so close to the
my
material.
source material.
Like, just leave the Mario Brothers out
It's
of whatever fucking
it's-
film
Yeah,
this
my
is.
favorite part of making these games with the hookers and the jump boots.
It's the equivalent of saying if they were gonna fuck me in the ass, I wish they'd bought me dinner first.
Basically.
Anyway, so they need to get the gem, and
We're gonna get there, but holy crap.
they get the
We
they
technically already ended it.
the witch. Yeah, the witch kills herself accidentally, and they
That's it. Roll credits.
ooze them, and then Daisy, the princess, is like, "Hey, Luigi, I can't go with you. I have to stay here and rebuild the kingdom." And Luigi's like, "I'm real sad." And then they go back home, and Mario's having dinner with his girlfriend and Luigi, this boy he keeps, because they're not really brothers.
His young ward.
His ward. So
I found him and I kept him.
I kept this boy. It's a
He's
real
mine.
It's a real pupil scenario.
Bruce Wayne can do it, so can I.
Hey, if Bruce Wayne can do it, that's not Italian. That's not a Brooklyn Italian accent. What the fuck was that?
I'm not even gonna try Brooklyn.
Hey, I'm Mario. Well, yeah, well, neither did Bob Hoskins, because it's basically like,
Fair.
hey, I'm Mario. It's like halfway to Carl from Aqua Teen Hunger Force.
It reminded me of
It's
Danny
me,
DeVito.
Mario.
It reminded me of Danny DeVito every other time he talked.
We're like brothers. I'm slipping into Michael Shane and Azad again.
Yeah.
Give me the Codex.
This is my brother, Luigi.
I did mention at one
Luigi
point,
Mario.
I stand by this. If this turned out to be a secret Wario movie and they weren't Mario and Luigi, but they were Wario and Waluigi at the end, I feel like it would have been a much better movie.
Wow.
This
Wait.
was not a union job.
Wow.
So I don't know Nintendo that well. Does Waluigi wear a hat? With,
Purple and yellow, right?
But
It's a
With a
yellow hat.
backwards L.
it's a backwards L.
Yeah.
Why?
Okay. Because I was about
But
to
isn't
say.
his name Waluigi?
But then you would
Wa
have.
is a prefix in Japanese for bad.
But you would
But
also.
Wario isn't Wa Mario. Wait, in Japan, is it Wa Mario?
No, it's not. It doesn't make any sense.
I was gonna say, you
even
don't-
they
This
themselves have
fucking
been like,
sucks.
this is
You would
stupid.
also
This is
have.
like our debate we had about what their last name is, and I'm like, well, if your game's called Mario Brothers, that means it is their surname, and then you drop some fucking Nintendo knowledge on me. You're like, well, that's not their surname, actually. And then you told me that Donkey Kong isn't Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is Donkey Kong's grandson, also named Donkey Kong, which sounds like a real retcon bullshit.
Hey, it wasn't my fault, and
They say it in the movie.
this is what led to Candy Kong. All right,
I'm
This is your
Luigi
fault.
Mario.
The-
Yeah,
name
oh yeah,
is Mario
apparently,
Mario.
apparently Donkey Kong fell in love with a fucking Sasquatch named Candy Kong, which I found out existed today and was horrified because
Honky donk.
it kind of looks like a woman in blackface.
Oh my god, so offensive.
Oh, Conky Don? That feels like a character that would show up on that Super Mario Brothers Super Show with the live action Mario in his fucking basement showing kids cartoons. Anyway, you guys want to meet my friend? Conky Don and Candy Con. And Candy's just this poor girl from New Jersey who's like, when do I get paid? And he's like, you get paid when I say you get paid. I'm Mario. We're gonna have our own Super Smash Brothers tonight.
Oh, because she smashes both brothers.
Oh,
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for having my fucking back. That was Mario.
That's Mario, yeah. Expand dong.
What did we watched Street Fighter. Who fucking cares?
You sounded so disappointed. What did we watch? Oh, yeah, Street Fighter.
We watched the best movie that we've watched.
We watched Steven D'Souza's Street Fighter, an epic action adventure.
It should be called Gunfighter.
I don't know. There was a big brawl between
Between Kylie Minogue and cocaine.
but none of it is fighting on the street.
no, not a single fight takes place on the
So
street.
why is it called Street Fighter?
Because Cancer Fighter doesn't sound as good.
Because Rachulia died making this movie, basically, and it is so sad.
Yeah,
I
I
miss him so much.
Yeah, I really do.
He is hands down the best part of this movie.
And Zangief.
Zangief is a close second.
I wouldn't say it's a close second, but he's second.
He doesn't have a lot of screen time, but when he does, boy, does he
My
shine.
God.
I'm sure I've played Street Fighter 2 as a child, but I don't really recall it. Can anyone tell me what the plot of Street Fighter
There
2
isn't
is?
one.
You fight in the street.
Yeah.
There's literally, they don't even try it. Does the booklet not have a narrative? Mortal Kombat?
I believe it's just a series of fights.
So, as far
So-
as I'm aware, there is really all it is that M. Bison's bad.
M. Bison was an asshole, too.
How dare you speak ill of Raw, Julia?
I'm talking about the game version. That was a
No,
hard fight.
yeah, that guy's a dick.
Yeah, fuck him.
I've only fought him in Marvel vs. Capcom games. Does that count? Are those canon?
To what, life?
Yes, those happen, Steve.
Did that really?
Yeah,
did
Steve.
Ultron really do this?
Yeah, Steve, that's my fucking question. What the fuck?
We have fun.
How is this the movie I'm struggling with? Hey, Brian, is there a story of Street Fighter 2?
As of right now, unclear.
Sorry,
But
news from the front. As of right now, unclear if Street Fighter 2
So-
had a story.
in my mind, Street Fighter 2 does not have a story. I played it in arcades at Pizza Hut as a kid. I played a lot of it
Pizza
on...
Hut had arcades where you were?
No. They had Street Fighter 2.
What, like
a single slot machine.
They had
like an
the...
8-inch television and a Super Nintendo?
No,
like, what do you
they had the arcade cabinet for Street Fighter 2.
And only Street Fighter 2?
Only Street Fighter 2. It was Street Fighter 2 or like M&M's and gumballs. in arcade, it definitely did not have a story.
When Mortal Kombat, so when I bought like Mortal Kombat on like the Genesis, I opened it up and there was a booklet and it was a fucking novel.
Oh yeah.
Just so you know, here's the backstory to everybody. Here's the backstory to Mortal Kombat.
That's the only way to get the story across at
then,
that
and
time.
then whoever you beat the game with, it was like, by the way, you beat the game with this person. You beat the game with Kitana. She went back to being a princess. You're like, that seems sexist.
Oh wait, there was a tournament in Street Fighter 2. It was called the World Warrior Tournament.
Why
I
isn't it
thought.
called Street
I thought.
Fighter?
So I do think the Street Fighter movie is way better than it has any right to be.
Not since it's a mad world has there been so many fucking main characters in a movie. Like,
There's never like an actual main character. There's just
it's Guile,
It's Guile.
technically, although he doesn't have an arc. Ken gets the arc because he. So for anyone who's not seen Street Fighter, so the movie starts and we get some news about the Allied Nations because they can't use United Nations. Guile is part of the sort of United Nations task force. He's going after Bison, who's like an international terrorist. He's taking some hostages, including Guile's best friend. Meanwhile, there's a reporter, Chun-Li, who's also after Bison because he killed her father years ago. And then the other story is Ken and Ryu, and they are black market arms dealers, but they're scamming the bad guys. And Ken learns to no longer just look out for himself and go help his friend, and very pointedly looks to the villain, the other arms dealer, Sagat, and goes, "Thanks, Sagat. If I hadn't met you, I would have become you." It's like, that's kind of the only arc. Guile and Chun-Li don't really grow or change. They're basically like, I want to kill that guy, and then that guy's dead, and they're like, high five. Like,
I mean, Bison technically had an arc.
but he didn't like grow or change. Like, he just didn't.
He changed from alive to dead.
Yeah,
and
but
then back to
then
alive.
his suit brought him
and
back.
then back to dead, then back to alive.
And he achieved godhood, as he said.
That's true. He ascended. That's what he
Do
wanted.
you not recognize my godhood?
yeah, that was a little out there, but
So great.
Pretty
That's when the
awesome.
movie really comes alive.
They call it a day. The base explodes in a typical 80s action movie.
80s action movie in 1994.
Oof. I didn't realize it was that recent.
Oh, yeah, you look at this movie, and you're like, this is a pretty good movie for 1987. You're like, this movie came out in 1994. What?
Yeah.
now did they
This
film
movie
it?
came out the same year as Pulp Fiction?
And I know we did a couple months ago. We watched back to back Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, right?
Many
yeah,
moons
like
ago.
last
Yeah.
year, at least.
Well, yeah, I remember loving Mortal Kombat as a kid, and it's still fine, but it's kind of boring.
Oh, fine's a strong word.
And it's slow.
Anyone else want to refute that Mortal Kombat is fine?
I would say it is a film.
It exists. That is confirmed.
You mean Paul W.S. Anderson couldn't bring it? Hey, there's some
I think
video
it's
game
weird.
movies. He made those Resident Evil movies. You love those, right?
No,
Really? How many of them have you seen?
all of them. I saw the first 4 in theaters, and then the other ones
You
I
saw the
waited.
first 4 in theaters?
Yeah,
What?
4 of them.
I have a problem, David.
And that problem
Are
is...
you
is
going to see the Monster Hunter movie in theaters?
I'm gonna
Undecided.
punch you into the sun.
My money's on yes.
I'll tell you
We're
what.
gonna see
I
it
will
in
go with
theaters.
you if you want to see the Monster Hunter movie. I will do this.
No one.
Any
higher
other,
than
any other
Spurgeon
takers?
alone.
Any other take?
Oh.
You can watch a different Paul W.S. Anderson movie, like
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, exactly. Watch the good one.
Ooh, that's a strong one. People will tell you Event Horizon's good.
But,
Hellraiser in space, my ass.
Yeah, but no, I'd say that Mortal Kombat I enjoyed a lot as a kid, but now watching it, it's very slow.
I would assume it's because of this sick soundtrack.
Or Annihilation, I guess, had the better soundtrack.
That's true. KMFDM's no scooter.
Yeah.
But where was my street fighting?
Yeah, that's. I'm gonna say.
Well, no,
I got
and
plenty of
no
Mortal
one fights on the
Kombat.
street. No one fights on the street in the film.
I feel like that's going to be this whole podcast. It's just us bringing up the fact that not a
There
single
was
fight.
never a street fight.
My
You know,
God.
This film wrote a check that it could
Yeah,
not
and you know what?
cash.
And you know what?
in Warcraft, there was a lot of war. I don't know if there's any crafting.
I
There's
don't
no
recall
one
seeing
crafted.
anyone craft.
And also, there was barely any war. There was one skirmish and then a battle at the end.
I did get Super Mario Bros.
Phones down, gentlemen. Gentlemen.
I'm reviewing my material. Hold on.
Okay. I assume
Got it
Steve's,
fact checked.
I assume Steve's doing that and is definitely not on Reddit.
Huh? Yeah.
He's on the Warcraft Reddit.
Yeah, I'm on. I'm
Got
on.
it.
I don't know.
All right.
Fangamer.com. I don't know.
I'm on
I'm on MMO Champion. That's it.
on Pornhub.
Yeah, I'm actually just watching
Guys,
Blood
But
Elves.
I'm watching World of Warcraft more.
I'm watching Blood Elves just
I'm
taking
watching
it.
Blubberella.
Guys, I'm gonna be honest. I'm on /r Warcraft porn. It's fine. I'm on /our world of Warcraft.
Oh,
Shouldn't that be Horror of Warcraft?
I'm pretty sure there is a movie called Warcraft.
Hire me, Blizzard. Hey, I know you just made some cuts. Hey, please.
they made some cuts to your department.
Hey, Blizzard, I know you just made some cuts, but I work
still
cheap,
heard you were hiring for other things.
and I'm available on Fiverr. If you're interested. All right. Warcraft. Dun, 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 dun.
That was so much more excited than I
Any
am.
actor in the
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. The guy who played Khadgar tried.
film.
Is Khadgar the guy who wins?
Was Khadgar Travis Fimmel from Vikings?
No.
Then no. That's the
That-
one who tried.
That's the only person that tried.
That
Eh,
person.
eh,
Well, that person made a really smart choice, which is I'll just look at everything like I want to fuck it, and I'll
Yeah,
be
it's a good
charming as
choice.
shit.
the,
That's how I've made it through life.
That's how I've made it through life. I have several restraining orders.
the human orc also somewhat tried.
Paula Patton, yeah,
Yeah.
she's a good actress. So this is Duncan Jones, not his most recent film because he made Mute on Netflix, which no one here has watched, I assume.
I have no idea what that is.
Negative.
Exactly. Anyway, this is not Mutecast. This is Warcast, the world of Warcast. That's got to exist. I said that out loud. That's
Sure.
got to exist.
Yeah,
promise.
that's already a thing.
Anyway,
Let's not get sued today.
let's not get sued today.
No. We just gotta invite them to the show. That's how you avoid that. So
That's-
World of Warcraft,
you
if you're out there,
you Ray Bradbury it. So Ray Bradbury, everyone who's a
yeah,
Ray
they'll join
Bradbury
our
is-
raid, right?
Yes, Raid Bradbury.
We're gonna raid the Bradbury.
So Ray Bradbury famously, so EC Comics, who made like the Tales from the Crypt comics, stole a bunch of Ray Bradbury stories and just adapted them into comic book form and then published them. And Ray Bradbury did something real smooth. He sent EC a letter and said, "I am delighted how these stories turned out. I just noticed that I have not received my payment yet." He wrote the letter as if they already had a contract and just asked for the money, and EC just started paying him. And they took the opportunity, like, fuck yeah, all right, whoo. Anyway, that's what we're hoping to do with the War of Warcast that we don't know exists.
Yes.
So come on the show and join our raid.
I'm a font of knowledge, not about Warcraft, though. I know that Duncan Jones made this movie. I know that it is not an adaptation of the Warcraft games, but rather set in the pre-existing continuity. Sort of, yeah, but it's not an adaptation, which is this disturbing trend to me. Which was also like the Assassin's Creed movie, where it's like, hey, rather than introduce this to a new audience, let's placate an existing audience. Oh wait, there's not $1 billion worth of an existing audience. Fuck.
It is
Right.
It is a more faithful adaptation than most video game movies.
But it's not an adaptation.
is-
It's not a faithful
it's not.
adaptation.
It
It is set in the canon
It's-
of the world,
right.
but it is not an adaptation, and that is the difference.
The main reason for that is the first Warcraft game, which is around the time that this movie would take
Around
place.
it. See, even you are
It's
like,
around
it's around
it.
the
It's around
time.
it. But
it's not like Lord of the Rings. It'd be like if the Lord of the Rings movies made up shit that led into and overlapped the first Lord, like the Fellowship of the Ring.
Or you mean like the 3 Hobbit movies that took
But
a
even that's
200-page
from books.
book?
But that's even from other books, though. They drew from the Silmarillion. They drew from the Book of Lost Tales and the Book of Untold Tales.
Yeah.
And yeah, they took some liberties. Even that, there's something there where it's like we are drawing from the source material to present the story to you in a light that will be
They made it to the
new
dragon.
audience friendly.
They made it to
Whereas-
the dragon. They got the gold. They dipped. It just took 3 movies.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're good. I'm not saying they're better than Warcraft. I'm not saying they're good. But like, this movie basically says, hey, you know Warcraft, so come have some fun. The problem is that clearly from box office perspective, people did not know Warcraft. And this movie made no effort to explain it to anyone.
I can tell you that the first game was one of the first, not first, but a
It's not like you're making up a book report. The first game was one
No.
of the first games in Warcraft.
Yes.
It was a good game.
I am at 15
No,
words on
it
this
was
essay.
it was
Keep
a
up.
very early RTS.
Double space, size
And-
13 font. I get you.
It was a very early RTS, and
Moving those
it's,
borders in on Word.
Real-time strategy.
it's not as fleshed out as games are now. There wasn't as much story as we get out of a lot of games now.
There wasn't that much story in this film.
Huh.
I mean,
Despite having two
There
protagonists.
was, but if you don't have a pre-existing knowledge of the lore, then you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, because
I would argue you're going to have a bad time,
Regardless.
even if you do have a pre-existing knowledge of the lore,
Yeah.
because it is poorly written and poorly executed.
it's not the worst thing I've ever watched. Let's go with that. I mean,
I think we were in trouble when there's a key, what should be a crucial moment, where there are dual protagonists in this film. Basically, are an orc chieftain, right? Chieftain,
Right.
and a human knight are on basically two sides of a conflict, and both are kind of heroic and likable in our eyes. And we're following both of them. And there's a certain point where the heroic knight realizes that one of the humans on their side, who's like a kind of wizard-like character, is evil. And he tells the king in front of this wizard that he's evil. And it is the slowest paced, most undramatic scene I've ever seen in cinema for what should be a fucking crazy twist reveal scene of like if you think about the Lord of the Rings, like when Saruman reveals that he's evil to Gandalf, the way that scene is executed, the way the music is like building the tension, the camera is fucking flying across this room being like, when did Saruman the Wise abandon reason for madness? And you're like, oh shit, what's happening? And you're like, fucking wizard fight. And then in this movie, Travis Fimmell's like, hey, that guy's evil over there, Settlers of Catan map. He's like, and the guy just stays silent, and the king's like, what are you talking about? And he's like, he's evil. And then they walk around the table, he's like, I am telling you he's evil. And the king's like, bro, you're being a little crazy. I want you to cool off in a cell. There's no music, the camera never moves, and we are an hour into this 2.5 hour movie. I'm like, what the fuck is happening?
No, I think that was like an hour and a
we were
hour and a
6
half.
hours
It was-
into this 8 hour
Yeah.
film.
Well,
It was like,
the weird thing
are
is
you
that
fucking kidding me? That was your key scene, their key turning scene, and like that's how you're gonna make it? Like that's how you're
Eve is evil.
and realistically, the whole movie it was basically orc with a bad wizard, human with a bad,
bad
wizard.
wizard. Yeah, the message of this film is don't trust wizards with American accents.
I mean, it's a good call.
If you got a wizard, bro, just make sure that the magic they're using isn't colored green, because green is the color of fel.
To be fair, the evil wizard on the human side used blue, and he was evil. So
Nah, but green started leaking out of him when he got his Sargeras
yeah, like
mustache.
8 hours into the film, sure.
How long was this
But I do
movie?
think
It was like Satan Tango. It was
do-
real long.
I was 15 when we started this.
That's true. I was still in college.
It took a while to watch this, guys.
I do think that
Both of my balls
this-
dropped while watching this.
this movie could have been much better had they
Unrelated.
actually
Unrelated. It's a medical. It's very serious.
had they actually adapted a story from Warcraft, which has extremely rich lore.
But in this manner, it would just be as dull because the people in the movie give you no energy, don't know what they're doing, don't know what they're talking about, and the director is making no effort to craft anything out of these performances.
But it's also a very uninteresting story.
The movie is about orcs going through a dimensional gateway to invade the human world, and there's two wizards battling them, and they're both evil and corrupt, and it's a tete-a-tete game of wizard battles and knight battles, and a dude loses his son. Like, it's got all the makings of like high fantasy epicness, and it is as dull as dirt.
Is very
Hear me
boring.
out, David. What if instead of what we saw, which was an amazing
Instead of this
CGI
movie,
intro,
it was a different movie.
just bear with. What if we followed 5 adventurers who go and time walk and watch it? You know, like the opening of the Dark Portal, an actual dungeon in one of the games. It's actually much more interesting than this.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Gotta go.
No, you do not get to be Corey and pretend like you actually did research.
I know.
I actually know
Warcraft.
this because I've played it so many times
If you have
trying
no
to get my
follow-up
loot.
questions, I know all of the craft.
Really?
Yeah, but no, I get what
Yeah,
you're
ask
talking
Manny.
about, Corey,
Ask
and-
me anything about Warcraft.
What 3 specs does a warrior have?
Yeah, I know the answer to that.
Do I even know this off the top of my head?
Yeah, ha! Fuck you, Corey.
I've also
Presto,
never
No,
played.
wait.
Guardian.
Arm-
I've
I
never-
know-
I've never played a
it's-
warrior.
Well,
I can tell you-
Guardians-
Balance.
Guardian. Well, are you talking about Druid?
Oh, I brought up druids too because they have 4.
I can tell you.
Wait, do they still have those? Didn't they remove them?
Nope.
No, they added one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
added
Druid
one.
actually ended up with 4. It's the only class.
So I know
that
some pretty good Warcraft trivia. I know know that David Bowie's son fucking wasted 2.5 hours of my goddamn life. How's that for Warcraft trivia?
I don't feel like that would ever get brought up on Jeopardy.
I saw this movie in theaters the
You
night it
poor
came out.
unfortunate soul.
But I have been to a lot of these midnight releases, and a lot of times it is in multiple theaters. Generally, you get there's a crowd. It's hard to find parking.
Yeah.
Everyone's excited. Everyone's talking. There's lines.
A lot of cosplayers.
There's cosplayers.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I go to Warcraft
You're
opening
in a
night.
college town, too.
Right. And I go to Warcraft opening night, parking lot's almost empty. We walk into the theater opening night, almost the entire theater's empty.
This movie has the what I would call the musical adaptation problem. It's always the wrong time, which is like, I guarantee you, like Hamilton, a film adaptation of Hamilton, which the rights have been sold for, needed to come out in 2014, or it needs to come out in 2035. And any time in between, it is too late, because it's going to come out in like 2022. Everyone's going to be like, who the fuck cares? That was like 7 years ago. So Warcraft needs to be a thing of the past, and the people who grew up with it need to have children of film-going age. I'd say the height of Warcraft's popularity was what, 2008, 2009?
2009 is what I'd say.
Yeah.
2009, okay. That means that your movie should not come out any earlier than the people who played Warcraft as teenagers, plus 10 years, 2019, plus 13 years for kids of movie-going age. Your movie needs to come out in 2030 at the earliest to catch that nostalgic wave.
I would
Bold
say
of
if
you
you're-
to assume anyone will be here in 2030.
Well, yes, of course. Obviously, we'll all be dead in a fiery pit.
In 2007, I was working at Pizza Hut, and every single employee in that Pizza Hut played World of Warcraft. My weekends were going over to their houses with my computer, listening to drum and bass, and playing World of Warcraft, eating a lot of Taco Bell.
Same with my old electronics department. The entire department played. They were all in
Oh
the same
yeah,
realm.
it was the same thing. At the
I
Best Buy
basically
worked at.
could not meet somebody without them asking about World of Warcraft or me, engaging in a conversation about Warcraft. And I think had a movie come out around that time period, I think it would have done better.
But it wouldn't have looked as good.
It didn't look that great.
It didn't look good.
It
yes,
looked pretty
they
good,
yes
except
they
for,
captured.
Gul'dan and
It's super inconsistent. You have things like Duratan, which is Toby Kebbell's character, looks great, and his wife looks great. And then you have that fucking evil orc wizard, looks like garbage.
Gul'dan.
He just looks so fake around every other orc.
he has a name, David. His name is Gul'dan.
He has a name, and it's called Rejected Aragon CGI.
And he looks just like he looks in the WoW cinematic videos.
Again, not a good call. I said this during the movie, and I'll say it again. That's like if in Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, the fucking PS3 version of Gollum showed up in the movie.
This movie probably should have been handled in-house.
It was. Universal's the distributor. Blizzard's the producer of
Right.
the movie.
No.
This is Blizzard making a movie.
Yeah, so no, what I'm saying
you
is
like it?
what I'm saying is it should not have been live action. It should have been handled in-house by their CG team, and it should have just been their cinematics turned into a movie.
No, because their cinematics, their pregame cinematics look amazing and like set the tone and get you hyped for
But
usually the
they're
next
literally
expansion.
just bites that are long enough to be able to build a hype.
2 minutes. And
They-
like the end game cutscenes look like actual trash. Like they do.
Yeah.
Compared to the intro
And
cinematic,
they clearly can't write a story as
oh my god, it's so
like-
disappointing. Why, Blizz? Why?
Yeah.
Well, this is just because you like to eat doesn't mean you should open a restaurant scenario. Just because you make a good video game doesn't mean you want to make a fucking movie. And I'm talking to you, Ubisoft and fucking Assassin's Creed. I'm talking to you, Blizzard, and your fucking Warcraft movie. You know shit about making movies. You want to know how I know that? You both made shitty as hell movies. This is why Halo could never get made, because no studio kowtowed to Microsoft. They went, no, you don't get control. We make movies. You make games. And Microsoft was like, we can make movies. Because I saw their fucking Halo TV show. And you know what? No, they cannot. Yeah. These people know what the fuck they're doing. So I went to film school. This is like me coming to you guys being like, I can fucking make your game. No, I can't. I know shit about making games. Imagine if I came to you all, cocky as hell, being like, I'm making a game. And you're like, do you know if you're making games? Pfft, easy. Like, no, it's not.
I just threw money at it,
I
and then a
just
game
threw
came.
money at it.
That's a good
It's the
analogy.
same thing. We can make a movie. How fucking hard is that? Well, apparently real hard, because the movies suck.
Well, it's
Halo
obviously
Nightfall sucks.
it's obviously very hard to adapt a video game into a movie because no one has done it successfully. I cannot.
It's not. It shouldn't be this hard.
It shouldn't.
It's
It really.
different mediums,
it
though.
shouldn't be,
One
but
of the-
it is.
It's
And that's what
one's
they
an
don't understand.
interactive medium, and the other one is
It's this
They've been
choice
making.
to not adapt, though. They're not adapting, and that is their problem.
They're not doing them now because they in the early 2000s, like every every 6 months there was at least one.
No. I mean, Warcraft is not an adaptation. Again, it's this stupid bullshit of we won't adapt it.
Yeah.
We won't change it. We'll create a new thing that's set in our lore.
Yeah.
And that is the stupidest fucking idea I have ever heard. That is like Marvel, if the Marvel Cinematic Universe made movies that took place in the canon of the comics, something 100,000 fucking people read at best. It would be so draconian. Can you imagine if Infinity War had to be canon and referenced the Infinity Gauntlet story and fucking Star Fox showed up for no goddamn reason? And I don't mean the fucking Nintendo game. I mean Thanos' brother Star Fox, who has the power of making people want to fuck him. Can you imagine if the Infinity War movie, that guy just randomly showed up and you all had to fucking look at me? And I was like, well, if you had read the comics, you'd know who Star Fox was. It would be horribly bullshit.
But so video game adaptations. I mean, what if you had to pick your favorite one?
Don't.
Warcraft.
No, don't.
No, I mean, but if you
No,
had
but
to,
don't.
the only one that works technically for me is Silent Hill, and that's still not a great movie.
I will
It's
say,
not.
Well, Silent Hill does have the
It
advantage
kind of-
of inherently arresting imagery
Yeah.
that is both horrifying and beautiful and has this hypnotic quality.
Yeah.
And I will say that movie, which is not a great movie and has a terrible Act 3, but that movie does capture the idea of this very kind of like dreamlike horror scape. So I do think it does that very successfully. Like, Pyramid Head's weird and creepy and beautiful and scary all at the same time. And they're like, well,
Why do you think
and he
Pyramid
didn't.
Head's beautiful?
And they didn't make him talk.
It's
They
just
didn't
this-
make him do anything.
from an aesthetic
he shouldn't
perspective,
do.
there's something so striking
Yeah.
about this Greek Adonis statue of a man, but then there's just this like striking
Giant,
Giger,
rusty, terrifying-
like pyramid pointing almost to the ground. It almost looks like, you know, like a Michelangelo like statue.
Yeah.
But then there's like this disturbing pyramid carrying this massive glaive, you know, sparking against the ground. It's just such an arresting image. There's something inherently beautiful about it, but also terrifying.
I would say that Silent Hill, out of all the video game movies, is the only one that I've actively rewatched on purpose.
The rest were on accident.
Well, no, the rest were for
I-
this or for.
I fell and ended up watching Street Fighter: The Legend of Chun-Li.
I don't hate Warcraft with the fervor that everybody else seems to. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's far from the best.
I would put it in the middle.
Yeah, I would say it falls somewhere right in the middle in terms of quality. But I'm honestly, I'm inclined to agree with Brian. I think Silent Hill probably has been one of the better adaptations that's existed, because at least I can sit through that more than once.
The first like hour or so of Silent Hill is very engrossing. It's a really
No,
engrossing
it's
movie.
awesome.
And I think if you cut Sean Bean out of the movie completely and you change the CGI church battle at the end
Sean Bean should have been in the beginning.
and the 10-minute exposition scene, I think you
Yeah.
have a really good movie.
That
Yeah.
Act 3 should not have happened. I don't know where they were going with that. Realistically, there's a couple things about that movie that had they made a few quick changes, that would have been a fantastic movie.
I do like the dude who comes out of the bathroom stall.
Yeah. He's terrifying.
Very
and
disturbing.
she reaches into his mouth to get the key, and then
Yeah,
he comes to
yeah.
life and just
No, there's some really interesting imagery in that movie.
Warcraft was just boring. Just the story of humans versus orcs, even with the twist of ooh, it was the wizard, is not a
A
lot.
wizard did
The
it.
wizard did it.
That's true. This is one of the few movies where you can actually say
A wizard did
a
it.
wizard did it.
Dude, this is the second time they've tried to retcon this story. I was just thinking about
Wait,
this.
really? When did they try to retcon
so
it the first time?
They had the
Warlords
original
of Draenor.
game came out, and
Okay.
the first expansion comes out. Burning
So
Crusade.
so Warcraft is the original story. This movie's a riff on the events leading up to and part of the events of Warcraft. And then you're saying in WoW there
In
was an
WoW-
expansion.
In
that-
WoW, the first expansion has a dungeon that shows you the events that led to the beginning before the
Gotcha.
first game.
Gotcha.
Because WoW doesn't just take place in its own timeline. They love to do time jumping stuff. And then I just remember this when World of Draenor came out, they did something really weird. They tried to retcon the whole thing and change the entire world to be in a sort of a parallel universe where events on Draenor actually happen in different order. And Gul'dan is not allowed to come to power.
Okay, quick question. What is Draenor?
What is a Draenor?
Sorry.
That's the world
so there's
the
a
orcs
planet
came
that we
from.
see at the very beginning of the film that's completely
So the
barren.
orcs come from Draenor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And they're
technically-
moving to Midgard or whatever the fuck. What it's
Azeroth.
Midgard?
Azeroth.
Midgard. They
200
changed
and-
their story.
So what
once.
happened on Drano?
Draenor.
I got Draenor.
What happened
in
on
the
Lords of
bathroom.
Drano?
They never once had a clogged toilet. Yeah. So anyway, a bunch of the orcs don't die, and they
Oh,
end
we
up
don't.
forming their own faction and all that shit. And then they go and, oh, what do you know? They tried to invade Azeroth. Anyway, so this movie comes out after that expansion, actually during that expansion's time, technically. And then they go, actually, even though we just retconned like the entire history of the whole Warcraft universe, actually, let's retcon it again and have it be kind of like the original story we had, but maybe change a few details about like Sargeras possessing Medivh and all that. Let's just change some minor details and have it be like the original again. They retconned it twice in a year. Chew on that.
So I feel like I'm really going to regret asking this question.
Does this run on Linux?
I believe
Hey,
it
did
does.
this movie,
It does.
does this movie run on Linux? So before everyone answers, I want them to think about this and really pare it down to the most succinct possible answer. When talking solely about World of Warcraft, what is the story?
Oh, no.
No. It's so big.
I know, but just try and like pare it down.
Oh,
like,
I can-
like if
I-
you had to pitch me,
I
like
mean, it gets overly complicated, but at its core, it's
it's about family.
yeah,
It's all about family.
It's like the Fast
It's
and
about
Furious.
love.
struggles
It's about
within the
loss.
Horde.
It's about love.
It's about Corona and
I
family.
know hurt. No, I mean, essentially the story comes down to Greek pantheon of gods. One of them gets super pissed off at the universe, decides he's going to be a dickhead.
Man, that
Okay.
is
Starts-
super simple.
Yeah, exactly. Starts deciding to manipulate,
Lord of the Rings Melkor.
kind of, yeah.
Okay.
Decides to start manipulating individuals, destroying life as a whole for funsies. Well, not really for funsies, but at this point it's simpler just to say
He's
it
a
that way.
Chaos Edge Lord.
Right. The people from that world have no choice but to emigrate to somewhere else.
These are the orcs.
These are the orcs,
Okay.
right. The orcs are led by a guy that asshole god is manipulating.
Okay, wow, this
It
is just
really
fucking
is.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it kind of is. So they go through the dark portal, come here, and then war begins. And then
Warcraft begins.
So yeah, human versus orc.
right. And during the process of
They
all of
took
this,
our jobs, these orcs.
right. And in the process of all of this, alliances between all people on this planet start getting built. And then the story progresses
So
out
they
from
could build
there.
a wall.
Make Azeroth great
so-
again.
Yeah, make
so
Azeroth
all-
great again.
Maga, yes.
So
Yeah,
all of
MAGA. Wow.
so all of that happens, and then they form the Horde and they form the Alliance.
Are there races on our world or on Azeroth that
Yeah,
side
they're-
of the Horde, I guess?
Yeah.
And every expansion is just sort of building on this idea of like
Building on this battle
It's like
and
World
telling-
War. It's like World War II. It's this epic, long, multiple front.
And
World War
sometimes
II is a good summary for that.
Yeah, right. Like it's every front, different stories everywhere.
You've
But
got the
essentially
allies
all-
and you got the Axis.
But
and
essentially,
you're-
there's these
and
two
s-
sides.
And a lot of times
Okay,
they
okay.
actually there is no good or evil side.
tell
And
Blizzard that.
yeah, and a lot of times they actually have to work together to do shit.
Apparently, the evil side of Blizzard is the CEO who just laid
Yeah.
off.
No, the evil side of
He's
Blizzard
the
is
true
called
lich.
Activision.
He's the true Lich King or whatever
Yeah.
the fuck.
So Blizzard would be the alliance, I guess, and Activision at this point is the Horde.
I think you're Blizzard. The idea that Blizzard is in battle with Activision, a company that's owned them for 10 years, is a bit of a stretch.
No, I think it's just Activision's influence has just been
Because they're the
steadily
same
growing
company. So what was Orcs and Humans ends up being a multi-factional war.
with panda people.
Right,
and,
it's
and
wait, I'm
cows.
sorry, wait, whoa,
There's
whoa,
pandas.
There are pandas.
They're
They
really
make
good
beer.
at making beer.
They're really
Yeah.
good at making beer.
Really
a lot
good.
Of, lot of good
lot of
stories in
drunk-
Legion about making beer.
A lot of drunk
I'm gonna have to
pandas.
switch to hard liquor after this.
All right, so basically now that portal's open, as we saw in the movie. There's a portal. Oh, did we
I
see
did
it stay
see that
open?
in the movie.
David, you just opened up like a 6-hour exposition.
No. We're gonna go through this real
Well,
quick.
So Warcraft.
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 Warcraft. I've been David. All right. Anyway, it's not an amazing film. I've been okay. Wait. That's not the way to end this.
Yeah, that's not
gonna
the way to
fuck
end
me
that.
in editing.
I got it. I got it.
Go for it.
So, in summation, Warcraft was not.
This is my book report on Warcraft.
Yeah, literally. In summation.
We're at 1,000 words on that essay. Almost
Yeah.
there. 100
Yes.
more to go.
Yeah, I got.
not like Warcraft.
Yeah, I mean, to sum it up, essentially, Warcraft, not a great film. If you like the Warcraft universe, you may find one or two things to enjoy about it. Otherwise, you probably are better off watching Lord of the Rings again
Also-
for like the 30th time.
And if you like World of Warcraft, just play World of Warcraft.
Exactly.
Bro, you're better off
No,
watching
you're-
Ridley Scott's Legend than this
Watch
movie.
Lord
Fans-
of the Rings while you play World of Warcraft, and that is your fix.
Fans will be confused or upset, and people that don't play WoW will just be confused and maybe upset as well. Who knows?
I've been Steve.
I've been Corey.
Oh no. Start over one more time.
Like we're
Brian had a
literally-
I
stroke.
thought you were gonna do it, then I was gonna do it, and then it didn't happen.
Brian, what's your name?
Anyways,
Brian.
let's organically
Brian.
do it so I don't sound like a fucking orc.
No, it's better to do it this way.
Brian,
No,
how
this
about
is
you
the
start
only way
the
we can do
close?
Oh, so Warcraft sucks ass. Don't watch it. And my name is Brian.
My name is Brian.
And
This is my book report.
You've been listening to Cattywampus. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Tumblr at CattyWampusPod. Email us at cattywampuspodcast@gmail.com. Music by Tilly.